Hey, y'all. Welcome to the replay of the Happy Healthy Holiday Survival Workshop. I did hit record just a couple minutes late. So our first speaker is Mary Kay Neyland. She is speaking about stress and the stress effects on the body. The second speaker is Christy LaVine, and she is offering you a cooking class, which was really fun. And then I wrap it all up at the end. So I hope you enjoy our replay and happy, healthy holidays. And I know that you're going to survive it great. And if you're hearing this later, just enjoy. There's some great information here. Take care.
The stressor. Let's take a little close at women in stress. Okay, because I don't really have time to do a whole hormone thing, and Chris could probably nail that so easy and explain it really well, but that's not what my talk is about. But we will touch that the stress response happens in a fraction of a second. So boom, the body's in stress mode. Is it bad? Is it good? Well, I want to look at one hormone that has a domino effect through the body that can cause a lot of the breakdown that we were talking about. Which one is that? I should make you all guess. What stress hormone comes out that can cause unbelievable cortisol? Okay, cortisol is a hormone, and look, it wasn't even Dr. Sargent. Okay, it was one of the participants. Go, Christy. Oh, she's actually our chef today. But anyway, so you have this hormone that goes out, and a lot of people don't realize there's 50 plus hormones in the human body. But when cortisol is like an alpha hormone, and it's released when you are under a threat mentally, physically, emotionally, and I would even add spiritually. We're under a threat, or we feel that we are. Okay, a threat could again be traffic. It could be bad news. It could be watching the news, which is bad news usually. It could be a lot of different things, like we were talking about Keisha, my illustrations, eating very unhealthy could cause stress on the body. So it messes what cortisol does, and this is what I really want us to understand as women, if we can just get this down. It affects progesterone. Why is that a big deal? Because did you know that progesterone is the stay calm and carry on hormone? Chill. So what happens is when you hit about 40 years old, it's dropped about 80%. By the time you're 50, that's for sure. Okay, so 40-ish. I don't want to nail it. Things are ish. As you approach 50, this continues, and that's you get hit premenopause and menopause. Well, what does stress have to do all about this? Well, when that hormone progesterone goes down, it's a reason women start becoming moody and anxious, and they can't sleep, and they wonder, why am I gaining weight around, especially the middle, which is really interesting, the way this works. And there's just a lot. There's probably 50 different symptoms. I'm not going to go into it, but what does this have to do necessarily? Because if that is a progression of age, okay, what stress does is attacks this anytime in your life. It can be your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. It can make it so much worse. So that's where PMS comes in, and PMDD, which is PMS on steroids. You can have time of the month migraines and infertility. Well, how? Well, cortisol, and this is interesting. I'm not really I don't like to teach in ways that people don't understand. So let's look at it this way. Let's say that you've got someone working on your house, and they're building your cabinets, and your neighbor comes and steals your worker and takes them to their house, and they start building their cabinets. Okay, cortisol goes in and steals a hormone that literally makes progesterone, steals it, takes it to his house. We're going to call it a him, and causes that hormone to make more cortisol. So now your body, now we've started a cascade effect of the breakdown of the body. I just think more women should understand this, and we might take our distress a little more serious. Okay, so did that make sense? Stress also blocks progesterone receptors. So it's like you got a magnet, progesterone, boom, comes into a receptor on cells. Don't even have to really worry about that. But what cortisol does, it blocks it. Like you watch football, there's a lot on today. My husband loves it. They block, boom, right? Yeah, boom. And so that's what's going on. And so now your body is in a state of ultra distress, and you don't have your calming hormone, and you go, well, I probably lost it. Listen, you know what? Stress makes it 100 times worse. It makes other hormones go up that shouldn't. I won't even name them. And it makes you even in more of a breakdown situation. So here's my question today. Why are we allowing distress in our lives? Let's pause for a moment. Distress, ongoing stress. Well, I can't control it. I feel trapped. What I've done in the past isn't working. I don't know what to do. Okay, that's common, and that's understandable. And that's in a place of, I don't know what to do. And I understand that. I've been there. I would say I love to teach about stress because I've had so many bouts with it in my life and physical responses to it. So, okay. So, all right. Well, okay. Well, I have no idea what happened, but I know what I'm going to say. I have no idea what happened. Okay. So we don't need them. So basically what we got to do then is go, how do I remove the stressor? What do I got to do? Well, let's talk about what some of the stressors are before we can remove them. Okay. Because these are very common. Okay. First of all, let's take the first woman was in a relationship that was toxic. Okay. Let me just say something about toxic relationships. Look, you can't just throw people in your life away and get rid of your family. You can't get rid of the boss or the coworker. I mean, I'm not telling you just get rid of these people. You learn either coping skills for yourself, all right? And that may take some outside help. You can read some books. You have to decide what can stay in your life. You have more control than you realize. So for instance, this may sound crazy, but I just snoozed a bunch of people on social media, which means I'm not going to hear any more of their posts for 30 days because it was causing me to be very stressed. It was hitting me, and I felt like a person was having a very forceful, blasting conversation with me, and I can't even talk. It felt like I was being like this. Do you feel that way sometimes? Okay, so that's what I did. That's what I did. And yeah, there are people in my life I need to have conversations with, but look, this is a difficult one because it usually requires outside help. All right, but to allow something to continue that's toxic, you're the one who's going to suffer, not the one who's causing the toxicity. It's just the way life works. So please get help. And a lot of you know Chris, I believe this is not outside her realm to help you in something like that. It's not, health is, again, not just what's on your plate. We're all trained. Anyone in the health world is trained to look at what's outside your plate and help you. How about nutrient deficiencies? Did you know stress comes from that? A lot of people don't realize that. So I just want to say that what you put on your plate, you are what you digest. All right. So to skip breakfast, I just have to say this, for women to skip breakfast and go to lunch and not eat anything and have coffee, you've put your body in an amazing state of stress. It will whack your hormones. And maybe if you're 20 something and you want to pull that off, the body tends to bounce back better, but this is very hard to bounce back from. You got to balance your blood sugar in the morning. It requires protein. The first bite of your day should be protein. You want to have a muffin and coffee, you just sugar and caffeine. Your stress just goes through the ceiling. Really don't have a lot of time to talk about that, but I always tell people, lead every meal with a bite of protein first because it tells your pancreas, your body, you don't need to worry. She's not going to OD on carbs right now. She actually is eating protein. So now you can relax and not try to absorb all the sugar and store it as fat. That's the way the body works when we don't have enough protein. Okay, suppose you come home and your house is a wreck every day. Okay, every day and you go, you're going to have to figure out a way, if it's causing distress, to get somebody in there. If you're working, put aside a little money. Or do you want to just live a life of distress and work nonstop? So this is this goes on and on. You know, did you know toxic products cause the body to go into massive stress because it's a chemical the body can't process? So processed foods are loaded. You hear it all the time. You don't really understand why, because it tastes so good. You know, all this sanitizing ourselves with Clorox and Lysol, it goes right through your skin and through your nose and through your pores into your bloodstream. And now you're in a state of toxicity. There's no way you can get around that. What we put on our skin, what we use on our hair, there are toxic-free choices. We do not have to be stuck with that, okay? So I just want to say I'm just throwing some of these things out for us to consider. But what's the stressor, okay? Last point I want to make sure, we hear a lot about stress maintenance or management. What are some of those things? You can type them in. One I like is soak in a hot tub of Epsom salt. Epsom salt is magnesium. Magnesium is the most calming mineral to the human body. It literally does this. Exercise every day. Some people find that stressful. Some people find that relaxing. How about a walk? How about looking at nature? I sit on my little porch and I just stare at nature in the morning. I just stare at it. But it works for me. It calms me down. Okay? Some people like to get a massage. Some people, what are you doing? Okay, so you may want to write it down or think about it. What are you doing? 20 minutes in nature. Absolutely. What are you doing personally to manage your stress? And if you say, I don't have time, well, then the things we talked about, the distress in your life is going to win. It's going to knock you off your feet. And then you're going to say, well, I guess I have time now because I'm in bed or I'm sick, right? It's going to win. So let's get in front of it. So you're here today because you want to have a happy, healthy holiday. And I want to have a happy, healthy holiday. And I will just call it out. This has been a year. And not only are people experiencing stress from outside coming in, most women I talk to have had either a death in the family, something horribly traumatic happen, or something that hits a little personal to home than who the president's going to be. Okay, I'm just being honest. It's personal. So I feel for women who are going through that. I lost my father this year. Didn't even get to see him because of COVID. My husband lost his mother suddenly this year. I didn't get to see her or say goodbye to either one of them, and I haven't seen them. I was living in another state, and COVID kept me away. I couldn't see my dad. So he didn't have COVID, but they wouldn't let me see him. And, you know, it broke my heart, you know? And so I just feel like it's so much this year. So if every woman on here just decided to do some stress management, but also let's get some help with the stressors in our life that we know are ongoing. And maybe it's dirty laundry. We're afraid to let people know it's personal. Well, then you don't have to let the world know, but there's the person who can help you through it. And you're not stuck. There's always hope. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Dr. Chris. Call her Dr. Chris. And I really hope after today you feel your faith sparked, your joy sparked, and we'll start dealing with distress together. If you ever want to follow me on Facebook, you know, MK, because I'm Mary Kay. So MK Shine. I'm easy to find. There aren't many MK Shines. If you're not on social media, that's all right. That's where I tend to do a lot of, you know, just blast some stuff out and help people have some solutions to stuff in their life. So anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Mary Kay. And her website is mkshine.net. Easy, mkshine.net. Ladies, do you have any questions for Mary Kay that you would like to specifically address? Because we can take about 5 minutes for questions, and then we're going to bring Christy on, and she's going to do some cooking.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I know.
I wish I was there in her kitchen.
I know, me too. And she's not that far. I might go join her for lunch.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Does everyone know how to use the chat box if you want to ask a question? Do you have?
Or you can just unmute yourself and ask.
That's true.
Do you have any recommendations for progesterone?
Yes, I do. First of all,
increasing.
Yeah, progesterone is an interesting hormone. I believe the pharmaceutical companies have made something that's synthetic, but believe it or not, there's over-the-counter progesterone that you don't have to worry about. There's no side effects proven. it flushes out. And so I have been putting on a skin topical. It's called bioidentical because it's very similar. It's goes through your skin, and again, you don't have to worry. It's called I get it from naturallybetter.net. Naturally better. It's for any age women, and you know what? Honestly, if you have more questions about that afterwards, please ask for Sargent. But before you just go order and she can help you. But we don't prescribe, so I can only tell you what I do. And tell you that it's over the counter. I don't know what else to say. It's not a prescription, so there's no regulation, meaning the government's not concerned about it. The FDA is not concerned about it. So
supplements?
There's a reason. Okay, so do you have any recommendations for the best nutritional supplements for distressing? Absolutely. So other than magnesium and making sure you get all your vitamins met, because stress strips you of your vitamins like a good multi. I have a stress relief complex. It's called stress relief complex. Okay, so, but anyway, it's got a combination of a couple of the top herbs and some amino acids. And my son says when he takes it, it's magic. I've never heard, that said, when I first started taking it, I go, honey, you're stressed, take this. He didn't know what it was going to do. He goes, what is this stuff? I want to start buying it. I just feel a complete that wired tired is gone. And I go, well, it helps manage your cortisol, but it also helps your body not have all these stress responses. So I was stressed last night, not because of the program. I had got some bad news last night. And I thought, I can't sleep. It was 2 a.m. because look, it's stress, guys. It's a real thing. And it was very upsetting. All right. But so I took one, and then I just waited about 15 minutes and I just felt my body not doing the jittery thing, and it was just like, so yeah, herbs work pretty quick like that. This is different than vitamins that have to build up. But then magnesium is also phenomenal. And Chris knows about I just keep saying she knows about all this stuff, but yeah, so you don't have to memorize everything I'm saying today. But yes, there is help. And I suggest if you are in ongoing stress, you need to be on supplements. You absolutely, stress burns through your B vitamins. Mm-hmm. Vitamin D becomes an issue, and you try to build yourself up just with breathing and you're depleted. Again, it takes lifestyle, nutrition, and supplementation to heal and help and repair the body, all three. You can eat all the blueberries and kale and salmon you want, but if you're under distress, forget it. It's not going, sure, it's a good step. It's a great step, but it's not going to solve the issues the way that you can solve them in a quicker or more effective way. All right, so those are great questions. All right.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Yes. Question? Unmute yourself, shout it out. All right, we've got one more person to join. Thank you for joining.
Mary Kay, what was that cream again?
I'm going to put it in chat box.
Okay, great.
This is not pharmaceutical. It is not synthetic.
Oops.
It's over the counter. So that tells you when you hear something is over the counter, yes, I always tell people, check with your doctor first. I say that, you may need to, all right? Hey, I want to use some bioidentical progesterone at this dose. All right, so that would be you checking with your doctor. I'm only telling you what I'm using, okay? I can't tell you to go do this. You can look into it. You can do some research into it. .com, okay? Okay, everyone from naturallybetter.com. I think it's com. So there you go. Even Dr. Amen, the specialist, said that everyone should be, he said in my education, everyone should be taking a little bit of progesterone for their stress. So I'm just saying, he said it. And I'm thinking, well, that's when I did it. I said, yeah, I'm going to do that because he said it, right? And my doctor didn't care because you have no issues. You're fine. You can do that. So hopefully that helps. Okay.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Mary Kay. So appreciate it. Thank you for explaining how ongoing stress really affects our body in ways that we really didn't understand, and how cortisol really is the bad guy in all of this. And it sucks nutrients out of your body, if I heard what you said.
Yes.
It creates belly fat, which none of us really want, because that just increases inflammation down the road.
Yes.
And honestly, it sucks the joy out of our lives. So thank you so much for putting all of that together. And oh my gosh, I appreciate you and love you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'll mute myself
I
now.
am going to mute you. Yes. And we are going to unpin you and pin on Christy. All right, Christy, are you good to go? Christy LaVine.
Hey everybody, I'm Christy LaVine, and I am the creator of Christy Cooks for Life. And I created, I guess I should say I'm a low sodium lifestyle coach and content creator is the best way to put it. Basically what I do is I take all of our favorite recipes and make them low sodium and as heart healthy as possible. My husband and I have both lost 100 pounds over a period of time, me about 30 years ago, him more recently. And even more recently than that, he is an advanced heart failure patient. So we had to really restrict even further than what we were before, what we ate. And, you know, my goal or my mission is that we still live our lives the way we always did, just in a more heart healthy way. So everything I do is all my favorite meals or new meals that I found, I create them and make them heart healthy so that we don't feel like we're missing out on anything. A year after he was almost on the heart transplant list, thank God he didn't have to go on, we were celebrating New Year's in Jamaica on the rooftop with fireworks. So it really goes to show that, like Mary Kay says, whatever you put into your body has a huge impact. And changing what we ate and the way we ate has really, you know, been accredited to his success. So I'm here to share some appetizers for you for the holidays, because the whole premise behind our morning is to be able to be ready for the holidays. And I think one of the biggest stressors is not knowing what you can eat when you get to a family gathering, or not knowing what you should bring. And so I thought it would be fun to show you guys a couple quick recipes. Well, one's quicker than the other, but a couple quick recipes that you guys could have in your back pocket when the holidays roll around. Fingers crossed, we're all going to be able to celebrate with our family and friends. But if not, they're pretty good just to have around to eat anyways. So the first one I'm going to make is shrimp cocktail. I know that's, you know, seems kind of fancy, but it's super easy, and it's really easy to make it low sodium. So in my pot, I have boiling probably, I don't know, 5 cups of water. And then the secret to this recipe is this organic no salt seasoning from Kirkland. Now, if you don't have Costco near you, that's where I get this. You can order it online, or you can use a Mrs. Dash, or, I mean, there's a million, I shouldn't say a million. There's a lot of no salt alternatives out there. If you look for them, they're just not right in front of your face. So you really want to look at them. And the other thing is you want to look at the label, even though it says like low sodium or no, usually no salt, you're okay, but a lot of them say low sodium. If you read the ingredients and it says salt, you probably want to stay away from that, because there's other choices that don't have any salt in them. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the shrimp into this boiling water that's been boiling for a while, and my bowl is hot because my stove is on. Ouch. Remember how Mary Kay just said that you have a stress reaction? I just did that. So we're going to let that shrimp cook for a few minutes. It won't take long at all. And in the meantime, I have Heinz has a no salt ketchup. It literally has no salt in it at all. So I have a half a cup of that here in my bowl. I have a teaspoon of ground black pepper and another 2 teaspoons of the no salt seasoning. And we're going to mix that into the ketchup. So basically what we're doing is we're making our own cocktail sauce. Because if you take a minute and you look at cocktail sauce in the store, it's ridiculously high in sodium for a very small amount. And then I have some just shredded up horseradish. I did buy that in a jar. 1 teaspoon only has 30 milligrams of sodium. So I'm putting 1 teaspoon in this whole dip. So you are only going to get like 2 or 3 milligrams of sodium. So the ketchup has none. The horseradish has a little bit, and the seasoning that we put in had none. So most cocktail sauce is for a teaspoon is about 580 milligrams of sodium, anywhere between 500 and 800, depending on the brand. And this has, in a serving, less than 2 or 3. Now, it's very tomatoey. When the seasonings and the horseradish kind of marry together, that goes away a little bit. But if you are struggling with that strong tomato flavor, you can put in a little honey, a little agave, something to sweeten it up without, because sugar and tomatoes go together. It kind of counteracts that acid. So that's up to you to kind of decide if you want to add that in. So let's see how our shrimp's doing. Our shrimp is almost done. And when the shrimp is done, then we are going to strain it and put it in an ice bath. So I have that coming in a second. I think it's going to take a few more minutes on the shrimp. So I'm going to start talking about our tomato basil flatbread pizza. This is one of my favorites. The crust has no salt in it at all. I made that ahead of time this morning. It's 1.5 cups of water, 1 packet of yeast, which, by the way, we sent these recipes to you guys. I do think that the crust recipe that I sent might have had a typo on it. It said like 1 teaspoon of flour. It really should have been 3 cups. I don't know why it said that. I hope I corrected it, but if I didn't, you need about 3 to 3.5 cups of flour. So it's 1.5 cups of warm water, a packet of yeast, and 3 to 3.5 cups of flour. And I do put 2 teaspoons of sugar in that. And I also put about 1/4 cup of olive oil into the dough. And then you let it rise for just about an hour. And it'll make 2 pretty large pizzas or 3 smaller pizzas. So it depends on how thick you like your crust. So the other thing that you do before you're ready to put the flatbread together is I chop up, can you guys see that? Like a medley of tomatoes. And we're gonna put that in that bowl. And then 2 cups of spinach. Go ahead and put that in there. Now, if you don't want to put the spinach in with the tomatoes, you can saute it separately. And then about 3 to 5 tablespoons of garlic. It's a lot of garlic, but it kind of adds the flavor to this flatbread. And then we're going to put in about 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You can see I'm big on measuring. Sorry. But if you want to be specific, you can be. I like to just toss this together. And then you need about 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, which I have that over there. And again, with the measuring, the palm of your hand, if you cup it, is a tablespoon. And if you flatten it out a little bit and just put it in there, it's a teaspoon. So if you don't want to dirty a bunch of measuring utensils, you can just use your hand. That's my Christy Cooks for Life tip. Less dishes, the better, right? All right, so we got this all stirred together. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put that into either on a cookie sheet or in a roasting pan, 9.5 by 11, or I think this is a 10 by 10. And then you put that in the oven and you're gonna bake that for about an hour or until the tomatoes are caramelized and reduced. So I have those right here. So can you guys see how they look? So those I cooked ahead of time. We're gonna pause on that and we're going to rinse off the shrimp cocktail. So I'm straining that off. And and then I'm going to put it right into an ice bath for just a couple minutes, and then we will strain it again. Thank goodness I did that in the sink. It's kind of messy. All right. So that stops the shrimp from cooking, so it doesn't get overcooked. I mean, none of us like tough shrimp. So while we're paused on the flatbread, I'm going to bring over my little presentation. Can you guys see that? So I always like to be a little fancy at the holidays, and this is just, I use this for parfait desserts or martinis. You know, sometimes you got to have a martini. And when it comes to being like healthy, heart healthy, alcohol is not the best thing, but if you have it occasionally to celebrate, you know, it's not going to be the end of the world. So, I mean, of course, check with your doctor, because if you're on any medication, you want to make sure that you're not going to cause problems, you know. But if you are just trying to be healthy and aren't necessarily on medication, you can have a cocktail now and then. So I'm just going to put the cocktail sauce in there. And then I'm going to arrange the shrimp on the lettuce just for presentation. And literally, what was that? Like maybe 10 minutes, you have an amazing shrimp cocktail that looks super fancy. My plate is actually a holiday plate, even though you can't see it because of the lettuce, but I was trying to be festive. So we'll just put the rest of those on there. Make them pretty. If you have like a big martini glass or a big wine glass or something like that, you want to be able to dunk into it though. You could actually just hang the shrimp on the edge of it, and it would make an even, you know, fancier presentation. So there you go. Couldn't be any quicker than that, that you have a fancy appetizer to share with your family and friends, or just to eat on your own. It's a super healthy lunch too. Okay, so back to the flatbread. I have another crust here that I rolled out from that recipe we talked about. And oops, nope, I almost messed up. Oh, I almost messed up. The cheese goes first on a flatbread. Like when you make a pizza, you put the cheese on top. But on a flatbread, honestly, I think that's the only difference between a pizza and a flatbread, is that the cheese is on the crust. So I have about a half a bag of shredded mozzarella. Now, again, you know, cheese is a little high in sodium. A fun fact is Swiss cheese is the lowest in sodium. But you got to think, you're not eating this whole pizza, and nothing else in here has sodium. So again, you're balancing out what you can't control with what you can control. So then we're going to put the tomatoes on top. Do you guys have any questions as I'm going? Just kind of throwing this together. So
oh my gosh, Christy, that looks so good. It looks so good.
It is one of my favorites. I have to say.
What kind of cheese did you end up using?
It's mozzarella. It's just plain old mozzarella. Now, if you wanted to mix mozzarella and a Parmesan Reggiano together, you certainly could. You just need to, if you're worried about the sodium, you need to sort of check that out and see what that's going to come out to in sodium. But actually, the harder the cheese, the less sodium as well. And the more yellow the cheese, the more sodium. So if you're not 100% sure, like when you're in a restaurant or whatever, always try to order a lighter, harder cheese. Okay, so then you literally just put this in the oven and bake it until the crust is brown and, you know, cheese is bubbly. It's about 8 to 10 minutes. I have the oven at 450. It cooks pretty high. I like to use a pizza stone. You can use a regular cookie sheet, whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in the oven.
Hey, Christy, what temperature do you roast your tomatoes and the spinach mixture?
Also 425. So 425, 450, you know, and these actually didn't take a whole hour. So I kind of went back and checked them. I usually check them about 30 minutes in just to see how much longer they're going to be. But it just depends on your oven. And, you know, a lot of times I make this on the grill. I'll just put the stone on the grill, or I'll just put the crust right onto the grates. So, and then flip it over and then, you know, build it on the grill. I love to make pizza on the grill. I do it all the time. So,
okay,
so,
that sounds really fancy.
it's not. It's super easy. You just put olive oil on one side, that like when you have it on your platter, and then when you put it on the grill, you put the olive oil side down. And as soon as the heat hits it, it separates from the grill. It doesn't stick. And then I just put, I cook it for a few minutes and put the olive oil on top of the side that's up again, and then flip it over. And then I put the cheese and the tomatoes and let it cook for a few more minutes. Super simple. Lots of, you know, because I don't want to turn my oven on in the summer.
I just made something. Sorry.
Go ahead.
You just made something really scary to me. Like, so easy. Thank you.
You're welcome. I even made blueberry scones on the grill this summer. I'm a little crazy that way. So, by the magic of TV and me getting up at 5:30 this morning, we have a finished pizza or flatbread. And so when it's done and it comes out, you just want to garnish it with some fresh basil. So I have some fresh basil here. And then you sprinkle that on the top. And you have shrimp cocktail and tomato basil flatbread by the magic of TV in less than a half an hour. But, you know, you do have to roast the tomatoes. You do have to cook it after you build it. So, you know, if you were making it all at once, it would probably take about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes to have a finished product. But, so as you can see, we don't suffer eating low sodium. Like, my goal is that we eat what everybody else eats. It's just, I make it myself, you know, so I can control how much sodium in it. And another thing that is super important for you guys to know is really on average, every person should have between 1,800 and 2,000 milligrams of sodium a day, whether you're a heart patient or not. It's just good for your heart because the sodium restricts your blood vessels and it just makes it hard for the blood to get through. So your heart has to work harder. And of course, inflammation. We all know when we eat too much salt, how our fingers feel. But the fun fact is, or the scary fact is, a teaspoon of salt has 2,400 milligrams of sodium. So depending on how aggressive you are with the salt shaker, you're most likely exceeding that multiple times during the day. Now granted, if you put it into a recipe, you have to break out like the portion sizes and everything. So it's not going to be 2,400, but it adds up really fast when you're, you know, adding salt to a recipe or shaking it onto your meals. So I just think that's a number that you should keep in your head, whether you're, you know, a heart patient on dialysis or, you know, like Mary Kay said, everything you put in your body has an impact over time. It's something to really keep in mind. So that's kind of where I'm at, guys. Do you guys have any questions or anything else you'd like to know?
Yeah, please open yourself, you know, unmute yourself if you have a question or throw it up into the chat box so I can see it and I can let her know what your questions are. I have a question actually, because I love salt and frankly, if you're craving salt, that's also a symptom of like high cortisol and adrenal stress. So how long does it take for your taste buds to get used to going low sodium? You and I talked about this before. Yeah. So I just thought it was so, like, people need to know, like, it doesn't take that long. So go ahead.
Right. It only takes 14 days to retrain your taste buds. So you know how it says 30 days to build a habit? Sometimes now they say 60. They keep upping it. That's why I have no good habits, apparently, because they keep upping how long it takes. No, I'm kidding. But it takes only 14 days to retrain your taste buds for anything, sweet, salty, you know, whatever you're struggling with. If you can make it through 14 days, you won't even realize that you're missing the salt. I think I was telling Chris we like to go to Bonefish Grill because they literally just grill their fish. They don't add anything to it. So it's a great restaurant to go to if you're watching your sodium. But I don't know, they didn't have the side I wanted. And so I'm like, just throw the mashed potatoes on there, knowing that I wasn't really going to eat them. But I was like, I didn't know what else I wanted. So I took a taste just to see. It was like somebody had opened the salt shaker and poured it into the potatoes on the plate. It was horrendous. Like you don't even realize how much your taste buds have changed until you experience something like that. So it's super easy and really important to make those changes.
That's great. So, oops, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I have an Instagram page, I have a Facebook page, and I have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to. And I have other videos there of the foods that I cook. Last week, I just put up a pot pie because I thought, well, now it's like 110 here in Chicago, as Chris said. Okay, maybe 70. But it was like 20 some the week before. So I made a pot pie, and that was a little bit challenging because you can't just open a can of cream of chicken soup. So I kind of had to make my own cream of chicken soup. So if you guys are interested, and homemade biscuits. So if you're interested in something like that, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and find that there. And I also have a video on like comparison shopping on different products at the store. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try one of the recipes, and let me know in my my group. I have a heart healthy, low sodium living Facebook group that's private that you have to request to join. So all your business isn't out there all over the world. It's just in the private group. So thank you. Chris, thank you so much for having me. This was super fun. And as you can see, we kind of have a theme going through the day. And I can't wait to see what Chris is going to share with us.
Thank you so much. And you can also find Christy at christykooksforlife.com. And her and I also did a podcast just a couple weeks ago. So it's on Apple under Spark Faith. And I also have a YouTube channel where you can find that. So thank you so much. That was so fun. And honestly, like, I didn't realize that it was that easy to grill a pizza. That was just a big, scary thing for me. So, oh my gosh.
Your kids would love it. You would.
Yeah, they probably would.
Yeah. Just give them each their own dough and let them have at it. They would have a great time.
Good idea. That's a great idea for like entertaining teens in general, right? Like just give them a ball of dough and put like a big thing of ingredients, let them make their own. And
absolutely.
You are so smart. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day, everybody.
Well, I really appreciate everybody being here today, and I am going to finish us off. I'm going to talk about the 3 R's, the 3 C's, and eat, drink, move, sleep, and let's get our body, mind, and spirit ready for the holidays. Yes, it's been a year. Like all 3 of us have said how crazy this year has been. So I don't want to belabor that. I really want to start this out on a really positive place to go. It may not sound like it. I want all of us to get in touch with what you're feeling. And feels, right? Feels are not always the easiest place to get in touch with. A lot of us push that feels down to the place where we don't feel anything. And many of you know my story that I didn't feel very much until over the last couple of years. And my daughter helped me uncover that because that's what kids are good for. And so we're going to talk a little bit about resentment. We're going to talk about resistance and revenge. And then we're going to talk about finding compassion through having some courage and curiosity. So there's probably been a lot of resentment built up this year around whatever it's been, whether it's been you're working at home, you're mad at your school district, you're upset about the president's stuff and all of that. Like we all have things that are just under the surface that have really pushed our anxiety buttons a lot this year. And so I just want you to feel through where your resentment pieces might be in your brain. Like, what are those thoughts that are popping up? I want you to just take a second, right? And listen to all the list. It's coming, right? You can hear it in your head, the list of things, right, that are causing that. And then I want you to think about how right you are on believing that these things are right or this thing is wrong. Think about that feeling. You got that feeling? Like you are right. And you would really like to hurt somebody about it. That's revenge. Now we've taken you all the way through all of that negative emotion that Mary Kay just told us to get rid of. So let's take a deep breath. And I want you to become aware of something else. This awareness piece is going to help you move through the holidays in such a clearer space. So I want you to be, since we're all ladies on here, I want you to think about yourself as the queen. You have your queen chair. I don't care what it looks like, right? It could be the puffy old couch that you love, or it could be something very regal. So think about yourself as the queen, and your townspeople are sitting below you. And all of your townspeople are the voices in your head. Okay? So you've got the what if guy. You know this guy? Yeah, but what if? But what if? What if? Right? You know that guy. He's the guy that creates so much anxiety in your head. It's ridiculous. Because what if that? And what if that? And he gets you going down the road to the places where we can't see. And then you've got the other one. But, okay, you've got the butt girl, not the good butt, right? The butt girl. The butt girl goes, yeah, but in the past. And she's got you looking behind you. But this happened before. This happened before. And so you get caught between looking in the front and looking in the back. And you miss everything that's happening here. Then you've got the other voices out there, right? You're not good enough. You're not enough. You didn't put your makeup on right. You dropped your notes. You messed up on this thing. You messed up on that thing. You talked to your daughter wrong. You talked to your son wrong. Horrible things are happening in the world. You got all those voices out there, right? So what I want you to understand is that you're the queen. And you can take one of those things, like it's got like a soft thing on the top and it's got a handle, like whack-a-mole, right? And you can whack each and every one of those voices down. You can tell them to just shut up. You can tell them to sit down and shut up. And if you'd like to put some other little 4-letter words in there, you can do that too. So when you get control of all of those voices in your head, you can stay right here in the moment, not what ifing and not butting, just right here. And when you can do that, you can start thinking about, do I need to be right? How do I have compassion for the school board, for the president that I don't want to have as a president? How do I bring compassion in destroyed relationships that have been really messed up on social media this year? How do I bring those things back into a place of sanity for myself? Yes, the shoulds, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? We have to bring compassion to these moments. And so in order to do that, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes, which also means you have to let go of being right. Now, we're going to talk about being right for just a second, because some of this is hardwired, and some of it's hardwired before we're 4 years old, because we were told things, we were programmed 50% before you're 4. The other 50%, about 45% before you're 18, which means your average age of the way that you're responding is someplace between 4 and 18. Think about all the really good decisions you made at those times in your life, particularly as a teenager, right? Maybe not so wise, right? So someplace in there, we're acting out as a 13-year-old most of the time, or an 8-year-old. And so when you can pull that back, that becomes your ego. We work most of the time out of that space of no awareness or low awareness about how we're coming across, about what we're actually thinking about. And we've learned now that we're the queen and we can control those voices. Those voices are a lot of your ego, right? Your ego is your survival dude. He's not about thriving. He's about keeping you safe, right? He's about not only wearing one parachute, but two, right? He actually has so many parachutes on that if one opens, he might explode himself, right? He keeps you small in your world. He makes you sure that you're right and that your way is the highway. So becoming aware of the thoughts that are happening, becoming aware of your ego is going to allow you to see another person's perspective. Think about where they grew up or how they grew up. What do you know about that person? Did you know that maybe they had to put their dog to sleep this morning right before they had this argument with you? Maybe it's road rage, right? It's the same thing. You don't know what happened to that person who cuts you off in traffic. You have no idea what might have happened to that person earlier in the day. Maybe they got fired from their job. Maybe they lost somebody close to them. So opening your minds and opening our perspective to other people is what's going to help you bring compassion in. And yes, it takes courage to say, I may not be right here. Or I'm willing to listen. Listening, this is going to be your takeaway from this particular section, is about how to listen. But having that courage to just dig into your own stuff, because we can't change anybody else. Having the courage to bring in your own stuff and understanding your own stuff is what's going to allow you to have that compassion. And then get curious. Get curious about the other person's point of view. Ask questions. Ask questions. Get curious and ask questions. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to prove this. You don't have to prove anything. It's just asking questions and listening. So I want to talk about 3 ways to listen, and then I'm going to move on. There's 3 ways to listen. If I said to you, the sky on a cloudless and sunny day is green. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Do you hear what you're saying in your head? This is listening to disagree. This is listening to disagree. You are already, as soon as I said the sky on a sunny day is green, you're like, no, it isn't. What are you, crazy? What's wrong with you? What planet did you grow up on? Right? You're all that listening to disagree. You cannot wait to disagree with me. Now, let's listen to agree. The sky on a sunny day is gorgeous and blue and deep and fun. Oh, yes. I love a sunny day like that. Now you're hearing to agree. Okay, so we can listen to agree and we can listen to disagree. And the third way of hearing is actually listening to listen, to hear the other person without considering ourselves first. It's just to sit and listen. It is very active. It is very difficult. It takes practice. And you can do it. It's the constant shut up, shut up, shut up that you have to tell your little townspeople as the queen of listening to shut up. Right? So 3 ways to listen. You can listen to agree, you can listen to disagree, and you can listen to actually hear the other person's perspective. And this is huge in my family. We are a family of interrupters. We're a family of interrupters. We all, my mom, because, you know, I can, we all interrupt each other. And so listening from this third space, not to agree, not to disagree, but just to hear the other person and what they have to say is a challenge in my own family. So there it is. There's the messy in my space, right? It can get messy, particularly if you are a fast processor. Some of us process information quicker than others. And when you're a fast processor, it can be really, really challenging, right? It can be really, really challenging. So processing fast doesn't always allow you to settle those voices down. So I'm going to encourage you, when you find yourself in that space of agree, disagree, slow it down, breathe, and listen so that you can actually hear what's happening in the world and what's happening out there. This will allow your resistance to go down because you don't have to prove yourself right. And you don't need to get revenge. That, for me, revenge is not mine anyway. In my faith space, revenge has to do with God. That has nothing to do with me. Therefore, why would I do that? Why would I think about it? And resistance, honestly, resistance is like holding a grudge against yourself. Resistance is just holding a grudge against yourself. Why would you do that? That is not love, that is not self-loving, and it is not self-serving. In any way is that good for you. So move through that resistance and find that compassion and courage and get curious about the other person and get curious. Sometimes you just have to get curious about what's going on with you. So I hope that we can bring that into the world as a positive piece. This world and our nation really needs to be healed, and it can start with us, right? It can start right here by just learning how to have compassion and listening to the other side and the other people in our lives. I'm going to move on because what I want you to understand about hanging on to this grudge and this resistance, it does exactly what Mary Kay said. It increases your cortisol levels. It causes you to age quickly. It causes belly fat to be deposited. It causes inflammation in your body. And it's thoughts. We haven't had one bite of junk food. We haven't had one sip of alcohol. And already we're inflamed. So we're going to move into how can we undo that besides starting to listen and breathing. There's lots of good breathing techniques out there. What about food? Food's a great place to go. I posted on Facebook today or yesterday, like, binge eating does not get the results you're looking for any faster. And so as we are going through this time, regardless of what your stressors are, food does not actually get you anywhere faster, binge eating your food. It actually ends up making you more stressed. It makes your body more stressed. So it's just that other piece of the grudge that you're holding. It's no different than binge watching. Binge watching doesn't get you anywhere faster either, right? It just allows you to continue to avoid the issue instead of confront the issue, right? You're just avoiding all your townspeople when you're just binge watching or binge eating. You're not really getting anywhere. And then you're frustrated because you feel like you're stuck. And there's so many more options out there. So why is junk food so bad? Why is eating all the carbs and the processed food? Well, Mary Kay hit that one right on the head too. It takes nutrients to process that food. And you actually end up nutrient deficient when you're eating crappy food. One of my mentors, Dr. Jeffrey Bland, the father of functional medicine, used to say, we have overconsumptive malnutrition. We are all consuming way too much and we're all malnourished. We have overconsumptive malnutrition. And all of the carbs build up to more cortisol. All the junk builds up more cortisol. And then what happens? Then we don't sleep. And sleep is one of those places where we can actually reverse aging. We can reverse the damage that we do when we sleep. We can reverse all that mental and emotional upset when we sleep. So sleep has been hugely studied, particularly over the last 10-ish years. We know now that if you don't sleep, you're getting heart disease. If you don't sleep, you're getting diabetes. Those are hypertension, high blood pressure. You're going to have something like that pop up just from not sleeping, even if everything else looks good. So this sleep piece and keeping your blood sugar even, like Mary Kay said, starting with protein, small through the day. Yes, there's a place for intermittent fasting. Yes, there is. And that's something that I discuss with my clients. We figure out if that's the right direction for them. I'm going to tell you that most of the research says small meals through the day prevents our chronic diseases. It also strengthens your immune system because your blood sugar isn't doing this all day. When your blood sugar goes up and down all day, your cortisol is also going up and down all day because it's cortisol that causes your muscles to break down and causes you to have new blood sugar when you're not feeding yourself. And the last thing, I don't know, ladies, but I don't really want to break down any more muscle. I want to keep the muscle I have because muscle is metabolism. You wonder why your metabolism is messed up. Muscle is your metabolism. So we want to maintain our metabolism by feeding ourselves protein, small meals through the day, and stay hydrated, right? So eat and sleep. We need to drink something. So imagine your cells, you don't have to close your eyes, but you got a baggie, right? You got a baggie and you throw some coffee grounds in there and you throw some alcohol in there and pick your favorite junk food, throw that in there, close up the baggie. That's what your cells look like when you don't drink water. Okay? The other analogy, if you're from Florida and you know what a swamp is, a swamp does not have fresh water source. The only time a swamp gets fresh water is when it rains. Otherwise, it's just muck, right? So if you want to take that disgusting bag and start feeding it about half your weight in ounces of water, all that junk comes out of your cells. And now you don't have this baggie full of grossness, right? If we could attach a spring to the bottom of a swamp, it would stay fresh. That's what the fresh springs are for, like Lake Tahoe, right? Fresh spring water. You can see all the way down into the depths of this lake because it's fresh spring fed. So you want to keep your body clean. It's not like don't have any alcohol or don't have coffee. Let's just make sure that we balance that out with lots of water so that your body can use that and detoxify itself properly. Otherwise, all those toxins start to build up in your brain and in your fat and cause inflammation. And from inflammation, we get diabetes and heart disease and cancer and joint pain and all of the stuff. All right, so we've got what we eat, right? Protein, veggies, we know this, a little bit of fruit, right? And when I say vegetables, like sweet potatoes are fine. This time of year, how about some nice yum butternut squash, right? The color of my top here, right? Like some yummy squash. Those are great. Vitamin A, great for your immune system, right? Awesome source of that. This is the time of year for that. And Christy probably has some great recipes for that too, low sodium. And they're sweet enough that you don't even need to add anything, really. They're just yummy. So we've eat, drink, movement. Have you moved your body today? Did you do a little bit of jiggle in the beginning? We had a little Christmas music. You're welcome to stand up right now and jiggle if you need to. Because when we move, it's like mixing that baggie up, right? We've got that baggie. It's got some toxins in it. We need to move some water in. That's what we do when we move. We move water around our body. And that's really, really important, because when you move water around your body, you know what you take with it? You take your immune cells with it. That's good. We want to move all of our immune cells all over our body into the deepest recesses of our body, because every day you're fighting cancer. I hate to tell you that, but everybody is all the time. And so the more that we can do on the positive front for our immune systems, the better we are going to be able to fight anything that we don't always have control over. So movement does a lot of things for us. Not only that, but a 3-minute dance party, people, will change your mood. Change your physical state to change your mental state. Find your favorite dance music, especially when you're in resistance. When you don't want to do something, force yourself to find your favorite dance music. Put it on the top of your Spotify menu. Whatever you have to do, find it. Force yourself to dance for 3 minutes. If you have to go into the bathroom at work, if you have to go into the bathroom at home for privacy like I do, go in your bathroom, put your earbuds in, and dance like crazy. Even if you are a terrible dancer, just do it. Doesn't matter, right? Get yourself moving, because change your body state, change your physical state, changes your mental state in 3 minutes. It also can burn off some of that nasty cortisol without adding to the mix. It can get you through that resistance. I had big resistance yesterday. I'll tell you a little story. I had big resistance yesterday. Of course, this is the first time I've ever put together an event like this. Is it going to go off? Oh my gosh, did I get all the emails out? Oh my gosh, did everybody get RSVP? That's it, I'm done. I don't want to look at it. I hope it's all right. I had to look at it. Otherwise, this morning wouldn't have come off as easily as it's come off. And so I had to get out and take a run and get my head back in the game and get out of the resistance space. So whatever it looks like on the outside, all put together, it's not always all put together on the inside, right? We all have that. And if you can be honest about that and open about that, that's going to make a big difference for you. So we've gone through a lot this morning. I just dumped a whole lot of information out there for you, and hopefully it's useful, right? We've put you into resentment. We put you through resistance and revenge. Then we found some compassion. We found courage, and we found curiosity to move through that. We understand how to hear our townspeople and how to listen in 3 different ways: to agree, to disagree, and to hear. Then we brought in, what are we going to eat? How are we going to do this, right? How are we going to do this right? We're going to eat protein through the day, and it can be any proteins, right? Whether you're vegetarian or a carnivore, right? Just eat small amounts through the day. Our bodies really don't need more than 12 or 1,500 calories a day, ladies, unless you're training for something. We really don't. We really don't. Drink. What are we going to drink? We're going to drink some water. Maybe we're going to have a glass of wine on a Friday night. Okay. More than that, after 7 o'clock, you're probably going to start interrupting your sleep. And we know now that sleep can undo all the stress that we bring on ourselves, right? And we're going to move our body, because not only does it help to release and reduce the cortisol, it puts you in a better frame of mind. It allows you to have those harder conversations because you can be calmer. It puts the happy hormones in your head. All of those pieces pull together. And then for the spirit of Christmas, what does your holiday really need to mean for you this year? What does this really, really mean for you this year? Is it about the big holiday perfect parties that you've always had? Do you have traditions that are getting blown up by the moment? Be ready for the unexpected. That's, if 2020 has not taught us anything, it has taught us to be ready for the unexpected. My kids just got sent home for 100% online learning after only being in school for a couple weeks. they're devastated. Especially when we look at the states around us all going to school, and all of our private schools are in school all day. My kids just want to go to school and see their friends. Be ready for the unexpected. It doesn't have to take over your life. Get it in perspective. Can I control it? Can I control it? Because if you can't, then you need to have compassion and courage and really get curious about what's going on inside of you. So be ready for the unexpected at the holidays. And I believe that we can have even better, deeper holidays. We can slow down. We don't have to buy all the gifts this year. Maybe we can't. Maybe your finances have been impacted by COVID, and maybe you're not able to do everything that you were used to being able to do. And that's okay. It's what God is teaching us, at least from my perspective. It's what I was taught this year, is to slow down. Not the what if, not the but, just be here and be inside here. Because I've had joy this year in the crazy that I never anticipated having. What lessons are you learning? The hard that you're going through right now is going to be able to help someone else down the road. The hard that you're going through right now is going to be able to help someone else down the road. We go through challenges in our life, I believe, so that we can put our experience and our love into somebody else who's going through something similar in the future. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I absolutely love and adore each and every one of you. If you have questions, open it up. I'm going to look through the chat real quick and see if there's anything here. And I am so excited about this event. I think it was a total success. And thank you for taking time out of your morning. Join me on my podcast. You know where to find me on social media. I have a big email list, and I have a couple private groups. And honestly, if you have some deeper questions about cortisol, about progesterone creams, or maybe an herbal supplement that would do similar to progesterone without taking the progesterone, I'll hook you up. I will, like a 30-minute free call if you're looking for some answers. I'm happy to be here to help you work through whatever it is you need to work through. Maybe you've got some unexpected stuff. Maybe your townspeople, you're not able to get them to shut up. Jump on a call with me. It's free. You have nothing to lose, nothing at all. Jump on a call and let's just chat. It's fun. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Let me see if I've got any questions. Strategies for sleep. Yes. Move your body. Move your body. Do a brain dump. Has anybody ever done this? Just take your handy dandy. Everybody knows I always have a journal, right? Open up a page, and just whatever comes in your head goes on the page. It does not have to be neat. It does not have to be bulleted. It does not have to be in complete sentences. It can just be one word, right? Husband, right? Whatever, I don't know, kids, I don't know, the laundry, like my broken refrigerator, whatever it is, just put it down. Get it all out of your head and onto a piece of paper. It can make for sleep so much better, so much better. Yes, be respectful of what God is teaching you. I think that that's so important, and a great point down here. And what does your holiday have to mean for you this year? Think about it. Is it about, for me, it's about Christ and Christmas, right? Like for me, it's about my faith. For me, it's about getting closer to God. And the closer we get to God and the more junk we can bring him, the more junk he can change in us. Opening up all your junk, thinking that you have to get your ducks in line for the God that already knows your heart is kind of silly in my book, because I did it for so long. Like for me, it was like, oh, I'll be with you in a minute, but I got to get this stuff straightened out. What the heck? No, just bring all the junk to him, but you can just put it in a big bag and dump it out and sort through it. with God, and He will teach you more than you ever knew about yourself. And y'all are so loved, and you probably don't even know, even in all your messy. So thank you very much. Awesome morning. Stay on. You can unmute yourself if you want to. I am going to stop the recording and see you later. Hey, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. If you want to know more about me, you can find more about me at www.restoreyou.com. That's RESTORYOU.com. And you can get a free ebook called Endless Energy that I wrote. You can copy and paste the link below. Take care and see you soon.